Welcome to another week, another show of Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. There I are, Craig and Stacy Schroeder, Fight with Flash Foundation. Little quick rundown of the lineup today. James Vandenberg going to join us as always, talking some Hawkeye football, former Hawkeye quarterback. Also, James Morris, former Hawkeye linebacker, going to join us. And to close out the show, Michael Merrick, my production partner, going in front of the camera today instead of behind the camera. So Michael going to talk, and Michael's with Daily Iowan Television and KRUI, sports director at both places, radio and TV for student-run radio and TV for the University of Iowa. Max von Grease will be behind the camera then, so we got Max in here today. So Craig, Stacy, a lot happening as always. Thanks for joining us. Great to see you guys. Stacy, we're going to get to your prediction here in a moment. Wonderful Fight with Flash t-shirts for the golf tourney.
Yes.
Craig, as you jokingly said to me off the air, I said the golf tourney's Friday. We record this on Tuesday afternoon, September 20th. By the time this airs, Craig, golf tourney will be already done. Talk about it, please.
Well, let's just sit there and pray that hopefully on Friday, when this airs, that we're as dry as we are today.
Good point.
On Tuesday. So
yes.
That's a big thing. So no, we're getting all the signage done and everything else. We got the family speakers all lined up, so we're very, very excited that Sarah Moss, Skylar Moss's wife, is going to come out and speak, and then we have a couple of the patients that are playing. They're going to speak and tell their stories, and this is really what it's all about. It's about spotlighting as many AYA patients that day as we can. So everybody there that's generously donating and playing and sponsoring, but also those people that, for some of you that just might get on the link and buy some auction items, or at least get on there and bid everybody else up that actually has to purchase.
That's right.
We want to be able to share their stories and give them some spotlight that is due.
Here's what I love about that, Craig, and you just nailed it right there. I've been seeing on social media, so even if you can't go to the tourney, so we talk about it before and even after, donations, you can buy these wonderful shirts that you see here. Of course, Stacy and Craig always have the fine jewelry you can buy. Stadium blankets on the way, not here yet, but it's not going to get cold for another couple of weeks. So when they get here, pre-order, because you're going to need them, right?
Right.
Eventually.
Absolutely.
All right, Stace, Craig, great stuff from you as always. So, not that this is the important stuff. Craig's stuff was important, but Stace, as you're rubbing your hand, not too shabby with using the anniversary as your predictor. You were 1 point off the Hawks. You said 28-17 Hawks. They won 27-0. You tried to be kind to the opponent and gave them a little break. Yes. But so what in God's green earth are you going for this week? The 3-0 Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. Hawks got to travel halfway across the country from Iowa to New Jersey. Mm-hmm. Hawks are 7.5-point favorites, over-unders 34.5 as we speak on Tuesday. What, pray tell, do you have for us, Stacy, today for a score?
Drum roll.
That's right.
16-6 Hawks. Yes.
16-6 Hawkeyes. James Vandenberg and I talked off air, going a little different score, but similar.
I know.
Similar. So Hawks win either way, guys. We happy with that?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Let's go with it. They are Craig and Stacy Schroeder with Fight with Flash Foundation via Facebook or fightwithflash.org. I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. Craig, Stacy, thanks again so much. See you next week.
Thanks,
Dave.
Thank you guys so much. Go get him at the tourney. Awesome.
Yes, thanks.
Back with more Hawkeye and James Vandenberg in just a few moments. Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. You can see on the screen Zoom this time. Not in studio, but we'll take him however we can get him. He is former Hawkeye quarterback James Vandenberg, doing very well with RBC Wealth Management or Corridor Investment Group, as you see on the bottom of the screen. So, James, let's get to it right away. The Scarlet Knights, the Hawkeyes right into town, Piscataway, New Jersey. They weren't, I don't want to say they're undersold at 3-0. The Hawks are 2-1, but Vegas is underselling Rutgers. Hawks are a 7.5-point favorite, over-under at 34.5. So apparently they're expecting a low-scoring game and a Hawkeye victory by a touchdown plus. What do you think?
I mean, I'm not attuned enough to Rutgers as a team, but we kind of enter the Big Ten schedule now, so things are going to be tougher. It's going to be more physical. Piscataway is a long ways away. So I feel good going into this week, but understanding the spread, that's not my expertise.
Yeah, oh, by the way, and I promised myself I wasn't going to look ahead of Rutgers, but Michigan's around the corner. That's going to be on Fox National, 11 o'clock kick, big noon kickoff. Pregame's going to be there. So all that, we'll discuss that next week. But, James, when you take a look at this again, when you talk about the Rutgers game and building from this Nevada game. And, you had Caleb Johnson. What an effort as a freshman. You've got both Williams are going to be back. And again, all the best to LaShawn Williams and his family with his dad passing away. But Gavin Williams back, Nico Reganian. Again, Michael Merrick and I will cover this at the end of the show. Looks as though Keegan Johnson spot duty last week, but after the delay, didn't come back and may not come back this week. So, you've got Nico Reganey potentially. The receiver cores are coming back a little bit. You've got Brody Breck, they're saying are healthy, and he may start. So you do have some receivers. Oh, by the way, James, beside Sam Laporta, one of the best tight ends in the country, and Lachey. So he's not hurting for position players and help, is Spencer Petras, is he?
No. But all those guys being healthy, provide a different element to the offense, and we want all of them. It's football. We're not going to get all of them all the time. The more healthy we get, the more diversified our offense really can be. So I thought that was a nice little flash. It was a good win. We executed good on some things, and it's definitely a step in the right direction.
All right, James, you and me together last minute here. What are we going to go score-wise? Again, I gave you the spread is Iowa right now as we talk, as we record this on Tuesday afternoon, September 20th. Of course, we know kickoff Saturday night. What are we going with? You and me collaborating here. What are we doing?
21-10 Hawks.
Okay, so you're taking the under and the Hawks cover. I'm with you, and I'm going to go that same ballpark. Now, I might change with James Morris in the next segment because he's a little bigger, badder, better than you, so he could, so he could take me. So I may have to agree with him as you're laughing with me. So, although I will tell him 2 weeks ago, you said if he didn't pick the Hawks, you were going to put him on his back.
Yeah, you can let him know that.
Okay, good. I'll leave that to you two then. James, as always, I know you're going to be out next week, so we'll carry on without you, but we'll look forward to talking to you in 2 weeks. Safe travels. He is James Vandenberg, former Hawkeye quarterback, and now doing very well with Corridor Investment Group and RBC Wealth Management. James, my friend, hope we're talking about a Hawkeye victory next week, and go Hawks, and see you then. Thanks, James.
Thanks, Dave.
For James Vandenberg, I'm Dave O'Hara. We'll be back with more, as I mentioned, talk with former Hawkeye linebacker James Morris, and then Michael Merrick from Daily Iowan Television will join us to close out the show. This is Hawkeye. I'm Dave O'Hara. Back with more in a few moments.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Chevrolet. We've lived through some very interesting times the last few months. Ensuring everyone's safety is more important than ever. That is why we're participating in the Chevy Clean program. At your request, we will pick up your vehicle, service it, and return it after we've cleaned it using the current CDC guidelines. This is just another way to work towards exceeding your expectations. So give us a call and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Who do you trust to produce the best yield? A seed company that's chasing technology or a seed company that's writing a book on it? Merschman Seeds is a leader in technology. We're independent and family owned. Our sister company, MS Technologies, provides access to world-class traits and genetics. And our starting line seed treatment is second to none. Who can you trust with your yields? Merschman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. As you can see, our buddy James Morris joining us again. James, it has been a while. Former Hawkeye linebacking great. Super Bowl champion with the Patriots back in the day. Now doing very well in the financial field and back with Principal Financial. So very busy. We're very blessed to get some time with James. Had the other James on earlier for the offense, James Vandenberg, James Morris. So how are you doing? How's life treating you? How are your wife and daughter doing? How are you doing?
We're doing well, Dave. Thanks for having us on. We celebrated my daughter's first birthday yesterday, so that's the big life event in the Morris household.
Congratulations. Gosh, I remember last year when you just had your daughter and you and your wife, and we were trying to juggle around sleep patterns and recording patterns, so the smile on your face tells me all is well then. Very good. Happy belated birthday by a day, so that's awesome. Well, as you're very welcome. As folks know, James, we record this on Tuesday afternoon, September 20th, so we've got a lot of injury updates. The next segment, Michael Merrick from DI, the Daily Iowan Television, and also KRUI student-run radio at Iowa. We're going to talk about all that. But I want to ask you, James, in a game like Saturday night, Hawkeyes win 27-0. James Vandenberg had his story. Have you ever been a part of a game similar to that, or with a delay that extended, or maybe not that extended? Would you have wanted to take your pads off, put your feet up, oranges, snacks? How would you have approached that delay?
Yeah, I played in a couple of games like that. My freshman year in 2010 against Indiana, it was in Bloomington. We had a long delay in the beginning. It was over 2 hours. And then I had a game my sophomore year against Pittsburgh, which was a long storm and lightning delay. And that was a game where I want to say we were down 21 points or something like that going into the delay. And then we scored like 27 points in the last call it 20 minutes of the game to end up winning it. It was one of the coolest games I've been a part of. And so, yeah, in terms of how you handle it as a player, I do think you got to just relax. You can't stay in game mode. You can't be super turned up. You can't be super intense because you just don't know when you're going back out there. So my approach was always to just relax. You don't know when you're going back out. And when you go, you can get amped up again.
Yeah, you can always fire it back up. Great perspective. And James Vandenberg had a similar answer, but of course on the defensive side and as a linebacker, a whole different energy level than a QB. Obviously, I think people realize that. So let's talk about that. The defense, depending on what statistical category you look at, James, Hawkeyes D at 13 points. I believe they only trail Georgia in the country, and people can impugn their schedule and say, well, they're 2-1, didn't really play anybody. They play a 3-0 Rutgers team upcoming this week, but James, I don't care what level you're playing at against what teams, to only give up 13 points in 3 games so far, not too shabby.
Well, that, and I'd be curious to look at the statistic of time on the field for the defense at Iowa relative to a Georgia, where it's probably a little bit more balanced for them. So I think our defense gets a little bit of bonus credit given things haven't been very symmetrical for the team so far this year.
Absolutely, yeah. Ball control, yeah. The defensive for I was on the field a lot more. Special teams, as you know as well, James, helps out a great deal with Torrey Taylor and Terry Roberts and Cooper DeJean downing punts on the 1-2 yard line. Now, as a defensive player, you being a linebacker, a hitting machine, that's got to make you salivate a little extra, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I can tell you too, just in my time in the NFL, as a special teams guy, when you have a good punter and a guy that can hang that ball up there for a while, that's a ton of fun. And then as you're a defensive player, you know that anytime you can change field, you definitely want to be on the plus side there.
Absolutely. And James, we're going to talk with Michael Merrick about this more in the next segment about Justin Jacobs potentially coming back, or to what degree or what level he can come back. You know what it's like, though, when you're nicked up like that and trying to play on the defense. They need everybody out there who's healthy and ready to go. But as a team like it is right now with the much maligned offense, and whether people agree or disagree with that, whatever side of the ledger you come out on there, but as a defensive player, I'm sure you had to love the fact a couple of weeks ago, and you went through a similar thing at times in your career at Iowa, and I think you would champion Jack Campbell for this, saying, hey, it's not them, it's not us, it's us. And we're not walking around in that locker room pointing a finger at them saying they're to blame. You know what that's like with being a leader on that team, but a defensive leader as well. I'm sure you had to champion Jack Campbell's words.
Absolutely. He's doing it the right way, and nothing good will come from the defensive side getting antagonistic with the offensive side. I mean, anytime, and I've been on some of these teams, anytime you have to have the players only meeting where one side of the ball is trying to talk to the other, the season's over. I mean, it's done. There's just no coming back from that. So I really hope it's not to that level, and that probably happens less in college than it does in the NFL, but he's going about it the right way. Listen, he can't control it. All he can do is continue to play good football, try to score points, safeties, turnovers, return for touchdowns, and the offense will figure it out when or if they do figure it out. So he's handling it the right way.
I remember you telling me that story off the air a couple of weeks ago, and you said, hey, if there's a players-only meeting called in the middle of the year, it's over. And you were referencing the NFL, your time in the NFL, and I think that's so on point. Hey, now how do you have the Hawks this week? Victory in Piscataway. Hawks are favored by 7.5 on the road, by the way, in a Big Ten game. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a coin toss. I think there's a universe where they win. I also think that if the offense can't stand on its own and the defense can't score points, then it's going to be really tough to win. I mean, listen, there were 4 or 5 games last year where we clearly got outplayed but found a way to win. Is that the way the team is built? Is that luck? Maybe it's a little bit of both. I think you could make the case that if we don't outplay these guys from a fundamental standpoint, which is time of possession, yards, third down conversions, turnovers, not leaving points on the board. If we don't win across those factors, then we probably lose a game, more likely than not. But this team, especially in the last 2 or 3 years, has won so many games that on paper they should have lost. I don't want to say no, but I don't think it's any better than a coin flip if you just evaluate the programs and what they've done so far.
I must say this easily, James. Great analysis, as always. Viewers, you can see why, and I'm not just saying it because he's on screen with me, why he's one of my favorite guests always. And whenever there's room, as you know, in your schedule, James, I got room for you on this show. He is James Morris, former Hawkeye linebacking great, former Super Bowl champion, doing very well with Principal Financial now. And happy father of a year and a day now, as we record this on Tuesday afternoon, you and your wife, parents for a year and a day now. James, again, I say it with great ease. One of my favorites as always. Thanks so much for your time and look forward to the next time we can catch up with you.
Thanks, Dave. Pleasure.
Same here. You're welcome. For James Morris, I'm Dave O'Hara. Back with more Hawkeye to close out the show with Michael Merrick from Daily Iowan Television and KRUI Radio. Back with more in a few moments.
Cutting-edge technology year after year. Introducing Starting Line, Mershman Seed's latest advancement in seed treatment. Now providing added protection from white mold and sudden death syndrome all season. Ask for Starting Line seed treatment from Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Automotive Family. We're living through some of the most interesting and challenging times many of us have ever seen. Knowing who you can rely on is more important than ever. Many of us turn to our families to get us through, and the same holds true here. From our fair, upfront pricing to exceptional service after the sale, we truly want to exceed your expectations. So give us a call or stop by and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Make next harvest your best harvest with Mershman Seeds. First, our connection to MS Technologies makes us an industry leader for Enlist E3 soybean genetics. Second, Starting Line seed treatment, our most advanced seed treatment, comes standard with added protection against both sudden death syndrome and white mold. Third, upgrade with Saltril and Trunemco for maximum protection against sudden death syndrome and soybean cyst nematodes. There's only one leader in soybean technology, Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. Now, you're used to hearing this guy's name behind the camera. He's in front of the camera. As good, both sides of the camera, is Michael Merrick. Michael, good to see you.
Great to see you.
Great to see you. Thanks for joining us on camera. As you know, Michael's my production partner since Rob Miller is elsewhere these days. And Michael is, as I mentioned, the sports director at the Daily Iowan Television as well as KRUI on University of Iowa campus. So, Michael, I got to get to it right away. Press availability with the players, press availability with Kirk Ferentz today. Take it away.
Well, Dave, so you know Iowa. You know how we they handle the media and how they do things. But there was a lot of optimism from the players this week. You speak to Spencer, and he was happy with the step forward they took as an offense. You speak to Nico Reganey, and he said that the few deep balls that were missed by Petrus, he took the blame on those. He said it's still coming back from that injury, the stress factor in his foot. So everyone seems to be having more faith in Petrus. Some big injury stuff. Well, this isn't an injury, but LaShawn Williams will be coming back.
That's good to hear. And again, as we said earlier in the program, all the best to him and his family with his dad passing away.
It's great to see him coming back. And then big news is Justin Jacobs might finally be back this weekend, and that is really big with this Rutgers team that is very creative in the run game. They've even used a tight end in the Wildcat to run a few times. So having your athletic linebacker like Justin Jacobs coming back, that could be a huge addition. Also, it seems like Keegan Johnson will not be playing this week. He still hasn't practiced at all so far this week, and they're taking it day to day, and it just seemed like Kirk didn't have too much optimism when it came to Keegan.
You know what, I don't want to do a lot of retread with you from last week. We talked about that in the show, and I want you to talk about Rutgers as you have. But, boy, with Keegan, it just seemed like, okay, we got a few plays out of him, and then once that weather delay hit, he stiffened up, and I think that may have set him back another week.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what happened, and the hope right now is to get him back from Michigan, but it doesn't look like he'll be on the field in Piscataway.
Yeah. So speaking of Piscataway, our guy Michael, as we record this every Tuesday afternoon, this time it's Tuesday afternoon, September 20th. By the time you watch this, viewers, he will be in said Piscataway, New Jersey, for the Scarlet Knights Rutgers. Let's talk about that. What are your expectations, Michael, when you cover the game? We know Greg Schiano's back as the head coach. I think year 2 or year 3 on his retread from his sojourn to the NFL. You got a great stat you're going to share, and not just knowing your stat ahead of time, you know Greg Schiano and is going to have his Scarlet Knights jacked up to play the Hawks.
Yeah, I really expect a great atmosphere in New Jersey, which is something that isn't really said when you talk about Rutgers football.
We're still talking football, right? Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And to that point, I think this is a brand new Rutgers team this year and stuff like that. That was the belief around Iowa, too. They're not looking at Rutgers, who have lost their past 19 home Big Ten conference games.
Wow.
They have won 5 on the road in that span, but 19 at home. They just haven't been able to get it done there. This will be a night game. They're calling it the Scarlet Out. I mean, if you know anything, you have a weak Iowa offense coming in, going up against a good Rutgers defense. Spencer Petras has talked about how good this defense is. He said it reminds him of a Minnesota defense, which in theory also reminds him of the Iowa defense. So this is going to be a low defensive battle game, I expect. Rutgers punter is also one of the best in the nation.
He's also a rugby style like Torrey
Exactly.
Taylor, and I talked to Michael Sleep-Dalton about that last year. You nailed it. A lot of similarities. And, you're bringing up something, and I didn't want to cut you up, but I do want to hit what you just said perfectly, nail on the head, Michael. This is becoming the RAC. The Rutgers Athletic Center with basketball with Gio Baker and crew became a tough place to play. That's why I said, we're talking football. This could be their coming out party in football. Like you said, losing 19 in a row at home. This is going to be an interesting game, Michael.
Yeah, definitely. The big question for Rutgers right now is who will play quarterback. They've been dealing with a lot of injuries, and last week after their second-string quarterback went down, they were down to just one scholarship quarterback on their entire roster. So they're playing some guys day to day, but right now the Hawkeyes don't really know who to prepare for at quarterback. And like I mentioned with the tight end lining up in Wildcat a few times, Rutgers likes to get everyone involved in the run game, even in the pass game. So the Hawkeye defense will have some complications to worry about.
You got me percolating. That wouldn't be horrible to see Sam Laporta lined up at Wildcat, would it?
No, I mean, honestly, I wish BF would take a few notes out of that. You see it in the NFL. Andy Reid likes to give Kelsey a few touches at the Wildcat tight end. It's something that has been taking over sports recently. I mean, the Philly special was thrown by Dallas Goedert, tight end. So tight ends have been getting used a lot more, and love to see Iowa tight end use that even more.
If they can do it at the Super Bowl, certainly the Hawks could do it in a conference game, right?
You'd hope so, especially in Piscataway.
Yeah, well stated. Michael, you first time out and expected nothing less, but enjoy your trip to Piscataway, and I'm going to have you back on in my usual rotation of guys because I definitely want to hear how this goes, and good luck to the Hawks. Give me a score, Michael. What do you think prediction-wise? Is this going to be a 3-2 Iowa game, a punting special? What do you got?
With the special teams supremacy that we will see in this game, I definitely expect a lower score, but I'd probably be close around what Stacy said. I'll go 17-7.
Okay.
I'll one-upper in each. Hawkeye's defense
like
won't give up too many points.
She went 16-6. You're going 17-7. Vandy and I went 21-10. James Morris said a close coin toss. Remember that? So we'll give James Morris credit for a 10-7 game, Hawkeye victory. Hey, Michael, great stuff. Great to see you. Thank you. On this side of the camera, we'll have you back. You're very welcome. Thank you. So for Michael Merrick, again, he is the sports director for the Daily Iowa Television and sports director at KRUI Radio, University of Iowa campus there. Also, thanks to James Morris, James Vandenberg, Craig and Stacy Schroeder, and most importantly to you, the viewers. I'm Dave O'Hara for Hawkeye, and thanks to our good buddy Max Von Grease behind the camera as well. So thank you very much, Max Von Grease. For the aforementioned folks, I'm Dave O'Hara. That's all from me. Thanks to all of you. And as always, thanks for staying tuned at the end of the program for these rolling credits to give our advertisers and sponsors the attention and credit they so richly deserve. And as always, to our aforementioned guests and to you, the viewers. That's all from us at Hawkeye. Thanks to all of you.